The U.S. Air Force could expand its current F-15EX procurement plans in order to replace its F-15E Strike Eagles, according to official documentation. The service currently aims to recapitalize its aging F-15CD air superiority fighters with the new F-15EX as a priority. But it's also left the door open to replacing its Strike Eagles with the type. Such an initiative wouldn't come without controversy, though, especially in terms of threatening the Air Force's long-held but often questioned F-35A procurement number goal of 1,763 airframes. A justification and approval document lays out the U.S. Air Force's case for buying the F-15EX. It says the objective of this program is to rapidly develop, integrate, and field the F-15EX weapon system to refresh, replace aging F-15CD aircraft. The decision to also refresh the F-15E aircraft has not yet been made, but remains an option. The report sets out the Air Force's reasoning for the sole source contract being awarded to Boeing for the F-15EX, and it was signed off by U.S. Air Force Acquisition Chief Dr. William Roper in August 2019. It carefully lays out the urgent plans to replace an F-15C fleet that's running out of airframe hours. It adds the F-15 fleet is in dire need of a refresh, in particular the F-15CD fleet. In keeping with major recapitalization projects, the timing would suggest that, when it comes, the need to replace the Strike Eagle will be just as urgent as it is currently for the F-15CD. The first production standard F-15E Strike Eagle made its maiden flight on December 11, 1986, from McDonnell Douglas St. Louis, Missouri plant. The first of 236 production Strike Eagles was handed over to the 461st Tactical Fighter Training Squadron Deadly Jesters on April 12, 1988. The first operational unit, the 336th Tactical Fighter Squadron Rocketeers, started to receive Strike Eagles at Seymour Johnson Air Force Base, North Carolina, in December 1988. The type was famously thrust into combat for Operation Desert Storm in 1991. The small 219-strong Strike Eagle fleet remains in high demand with an enduring commitment in the U.S. Central Command region that leverages many impressive niche capabilities. With just 6 frontline Strike Eagle squadrons, at least one is always deployed. The F-15E is also capable of delivering nuclear weapons and is the first jet certified to employ the newest variant of the B-61 tactical nuclear bomb. The current F-15E fleet features 2 different engine classes. The oldest jets feature a Pratt & Whitney F-100 PW220E with roughly 23,500 pounds of thrust. The younger models feature the P-100 PW229 engines with around 29,000 pounds of thrust, making them the most capable of the lot by a serious margin. They are also the most numerous. The initial F-15EXs are set to receive the F-110 GE-129 engine that also has 29,000 pounds of thrust. Buying more F-15EXs to replace the current F-15E would be hugely significant. U.S. Air Force Chief of Staff General David Lee Goldfein has made regular assertions that the F-15EX will not impact the F-35 Lightning II program. But switching later F-35 procurement targeted at replacing the F-15E to the F-15EX could impact the overall F-35A projected inventory requirement. Moreover, the Boeing fighter has been used as a means to pile competitive pressure on Lockheed Martin to reduce F-35 procurement and through-life costs. The justification and approval report underscores the reasoning behind purchasing the F-15EX in terms of ease of transition. Refreshing the existing F-15 fleet versus transitioning to a new advanced fighter aircraft with 15EX will dramatically reduce disruption to the logistics and sustainment infrastructure, as well as operational training and mission-ready status of current F-15 units by taking advantage of inherent familiarity with the existing aircraft, which will allow focus on the new and improved systems. The case for the urgent replacement of the F-15CD includes reasons regarding safety. The schedule impact, if there is no refresh, is exacerbated by the fact that the average age of the F-15CD fleet is 35 years. The fleet's structural integrity is rapidly degrading due to the high G flight profile used during training and operations. One wing commander imposed a G restriction due to a loss of confidence in the safety of the fleet. The U.S. Air Force examined a service life extension for the F-15C, but this was ruled out as not being cost-effective. The speed with which Boeing can build the F-15EX is cited as another key differentiator. Based on the foreign investment in the Saudi Arabian F-15SA and the Qatari F-15QA projects, the F-15EX will share 90 to 95% commonality with the Qatari jets, but will receive some specific additions such as Eagle Passive Active Warning and Survivability System, EPAWS. The report adds that buying the F-15EX will save $3 billion over the future year's defense program, compared to replacing that fleet with F-35s by avoiding significant transition costs required for a new aircraft. It adds the USAF estimates that it'll take 6 months or less to transition from the F-15CD to the F-15EX, given the significant commonality between the F-15CD and F-15EX aircraft components and ground support equipment. While the transition time from F-15s to the F-35 or any other airframe will take approximately 18 months for an active duty squadron and 36 months for an Air National Guard squadron. Accordingly, from both an economic and readiness perspective, no other aircraft will satisfy the U.S. Air Force requirement to refresh the F-15CD fleet. There are no official plans to replace the F-15E when it's retired from service, and officially it could remain in service through a life extension program. Yet, based on the situation facing the F-15CD, it could be up for replacement as early as the end of the decade. The F-15E shares similar cutting-edge technology as is being fielded in the F-15EX. It's been upgraded with the Raytheon AN/APG-82V1 Active Electronically Scanned Array, ASA radar, the new Advanced Display Core Processor, ADCP-2, and it too is receiving the new EPAWS self-protection system. As the plan sits, the F-15EX would equip squadrons whose only missions have been air-to-air combat and air sovereignty with the most advanced and reliable multi-role F-15s in the entire force. In other words, the F-15E community, which is tasked with some of the most complex combat operations abroad, would be flying aging, partially upgraded jets, while the Guard has brand new F-15EX with excess capabilities. This has raised the question of why doesn't the F-15E get replaced with the F-15EX and the current F-15CD community receive surplus F-15Es? With over 50 years of production, the F-15 is entering into uncharted territory for fighter aircraft manufacturing. Boeing has cleverly retained credibility through reinventing the F-15 via foreign investment, with at least 144 new F-15s entering the Air Force's fleet in the near term. Some 16 years after its last new Eagle was delivered, the prospects for follow-on orders are certainly there. This doesn't mean that recapitalizing the Strike Eagle fleet with F-15EX is anywhere near a done deal. But the door is open and might just prove to be another case of the swiftest, cheapest, and most sensible way to keep some of the Air Force's most important fighter squadrons in business. Regardless, with the F-15EX's stated service life of a whopping 20,000 hours, the Eagle will be gracing American fighter wing ramps well into the second half of the century.